I mean, I'm tempted to go back to what Pamela was saying. Most of the things that we're talking about here, we might not have time to do all these. This is one of the issues that that we probably need to think about. You know, there might not be time for pressure campaigning. You know, there might not be time for education because, you know, because of the global climate crisis. We do really kind of need a kind of revolution, and in that sense, you don't tend to see it. I mean, you can see the way that the COVID thing is panning out, whereas all I see on the mass media is that people are dying to get back to what was before, and of course it was what was before that was destroying everything, you know. So we do give a bit of lip service to this idea of the new normal, you know. So whatever we come up with here, you know, I'm being a bit pessimistic here, I know that, but whatever we come up here, we've got to have an overarching thing about whether we've got even time for any of this, you know.
Yeah, and I think Pamela would like to say something.
Roger's absolutely right. He's mentioned the R word, revolution. The other that I put down as an option is we need to be reframing the conversation around non-human beings, you know, in the media, in a sort of systematic way. And this could be part of, you know, the other things that people do, any other kind of actions that they use, looking back to what we've discussed before about words, okay, and the importance of words. But this doesn't seem to be generally done. And these are big, you know, I understand these are big asks, but I think, again, you know, if we've got a limited amount of time, it's not about us, is it? Is it about us? Is it about something, what I want to do? The selfies that I take and post on social media, and then I feel good about that. I feel I'm doing something. Is it about that? Or is it actually making a coherent difference, perhaps, or trying to, a real coherent difference in the war against animals that we are currently, you know, observers of? You know, and that's what's going on. It's a war against other animals, right? It's a war against living beings. And it's a war against life. We live in this, you know, rapacious, hideous, death-oriented culture. So whilst I completely understand that everybody wants to do the things that they want to do, and, you know, every little helps, as it were, I think that is kind of part of the problem, that attitude. Because sometimes we have to do what is necessary rather than what it is that we want to do. If we're in a sort of like an extreme situation, which we are, not just the war against animals, but the whole climate breakdown, COVID, what's going on with society now thing. You know, we're in a state, you know, the society that we're living in, I think, is in a state of flux and breakdown. And we need to acknowledge that as, you know, campaigners and activists. Is it going to go back to normal, whatever normal was? Or is it like just all falling to bits? It's all falling to bits. So do we want to be sort of kind of steering the falling to bitsiness of it, as it were, somehow finding out some way that we can do it? Or are we going to pretend that it's all kind of normal, really? You know, it's all, I feel good about that. I feel like I've made progress on something. Yeah, I get all that. I get all the self-care stuff, but is it how I feel, or is it about what we're trying to do for the animals?
To me, it's a delicate balance, because I think if we do things that don't speak to us, it's going to be difficult to keep that sustainable. I mean, to Roger's point, if we only have 10 years or so, then we'd probably all do everything radically different. I think with that said, though, if we push ourselves into things that, you know, are going to affect our sustainability, and then we burn out, that's something to be aware of too.
I mean, I have a response to that. And I think, you know, there's something about, you know, duty as well, you know, and that's a very popular word nowadays, isn't it? Right. And I never used to think like this either. But I mean, if you're in an extreme situation, you know, sometimes you do things that you really, you know, you mainly don't want to do, or that common sense tells you not to do. And maybe you do get burnt out, right? But maybe it's the right thing to do. The right thing to do. You know, maybe sometimes self-care is not the right thing to do in exceptional circumstances. And I think we're living under exceptional circumstances. You know, we are in a war situation, like it or not, we are. We are committing war against other beings, not just other animals, but the whole ecosystems, the whole systems that we live under. The human animal is waging and has waged the last few decades a systematic war. And we, whether we're vegans or not vegans, are, you know, participants in this. Still, we may be participating less. This is the kind of reframing. And why are we doing it? Because of the human supremacist attitudes which depend on othering other beings in order to prop up this whole societal pyramid of hierarchy